Hi, it's Paul here from Harbour Hypnotherapy, and in this video I'm going to talk about what is epigenetics and how to use epigenetics to take charge of your health. So the old thinking was that we're born with a fixed genetic blueprint that determines our traits, behaviours and our health. And this means that you're a victim of your hereditary. So this old idea is that you can't influence your genes, means that your life is very predetermined and that you have very little control over your health. Now, it's true that genetics do play a part. They play a part in determining your body size, your body shape, maybe things like the colour of your hair as well. But there's been this mistaken belief, and this has been backed up by social scientists, psychologists and other opinion makers, that our genes shape our habits and personalities, and that we can't do very much to change that. Now, the fast growing field of epigenetics is showing that we can influence our genes, and we can do this in a very big way. It is proving that you can no longer blame your genes or your genetic makeup for your health, and also for undesirable habits and unhappiness, or the fact that you feel stressed and anxious all the time. Now, your DNA, which is the carrier of your genetic information, is far more fluid than was previously thought. It used to be considered as a template, and a template is something that cannot be easily changed. It's now thought more like a script, and a script is something that can be changed. So the word epi in the context of genetics means at, on, above, in addition to, or as well as your genetic makeup. So epigenetics then is the study of how external forces that include your thoughts, behaviours and life experiences can either turn on or turn off or leave well alone parts of your genetic makeup. And epigenetic scientists are examining what makes genes express themselves, i.e. turn on, and what silences them, i.e. turn them off, so that we can influence their activity and dramatically reduce our chances of getting a disease that was previously thought of as genetic. So if you're worried that you might get cancer, diabetes or heart disease because your parents or your grandparents got it, then you're going to find out that there is so much more that you can do to silence the genetic parts that could trigger this disease. And my understanding is that even if you have the cancer gene in your body, it has to be turned on to get cancer. And there's quite a lot of things that need to happen for that gene to be turned on. So the genes are there, however, the thing that fires them or switches them on or off is more often than not within our control. Now, they're not completely within our control because past experiences, especially those from childhood, do play a part in that too, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. However, what happens in your life changes the way your genes operate. It doesn't alter the genes you were born with, it's your genetic activity that changes. So this is the hundreds of proteins, enzymes and other chemicals that regulate your cells. And the latest research is now saying that only 5% of gene mutations directly cause a long-term illness or disease. The other 95% of genes linked to illness or disease are influencers. So they're influenced by life factors. And these life factors include diet, exercise, life experiences, beliefs, perceptions, chemicals, stress, and negative emotions. And I talked a lot about these in a recent video, which you can see up here on the top right, or there'll be a link to the video in the description below as well. So epigenetic scientists are finding now that meditation, mindfulness, and cognitive therapy can modify epigenetic factors. So why is this? Well, it's because your perceptions and your thoughts influence your brain chemistry, which influences the chemistry in your blood, which influences the cells and controls the expression of your genes. So genetic activity is largely influenced by how you think, your attitude to life, how you perceive the world, the actions you take, and the life experiences that come from that. So in a nutshell, your mind controls your body, and this is basically proving now that the mind-body connection is absolutely true. So all the positive thinking, affirmations, meditation and other self-improvement work that you're doing is really helping your body as well as helping your mind. So in summary then, your thoughts and perceptions affect your biology, they affect your body, and the great news is that this places you in the driver's seat. Now I mentioned one area that seems to be outside of control, and that is our past life experiences, especially things from childhood. And this is subject to some debate, but there was an experiment that was done with rats, done with baby rats. So some of these baby rats were very well looked after by their parents. They were licked and groomed regularly and made to feel loved. And then when those baby rats became adult rats, they functioned very normally in the world. And then some of the other baby rats had parents that sort of did the minimum amount of licking and grooming and weren't such good parents in a way. And they found that when these rats grew up to be adults, that they were more stressed by things than the rats that were better looked after. And so this research has put a link maybe between ourselves. If we have childhood experiences aren't so great, then that can mean that we maybe are more stressed and anxious in adult life. Now, even if this is true, we know that there are lots of things we can do to work on stress and anxiety. So even if we feel it's something that's slightly predisposed to us from something in the past, we can still do lots of things to change that. Now, where epigenetics gets really interesting is whether you can pass on epigenetic information to your offspring. And another experiment was done this time with mice. So what they did was they took some mice and they took them to an environment where they can smell cherry blossom, so near some cherry blossom trees. And then what they did was a bit nasty. When they smelt cherry blossom, they gave them an electric shock. So over time, these mice realized that when they smell cherry blossom, that's conditioned with an electric shock. So they got to basically have a fear response whenever they smelt cherry blossom. Now, interestingly, these mice reproduced, and their offspring, when they became a little bit older, took them to some cherry blossom trees and they smelt the cherry blossom. And immediately these mice generated some kind of fear response. Now what had happened, now they didn't give them an electric shock, so that was the good news. But just by them smelling cherry blossom, they got a fear response. So that exercise, that research seems to prove that genetic information got passed from the parents of the mice, this fear response to cherry blossom, into the offspring. So if you're a parent, keep this in mind. I mean, this may or may not apply to humans, but if it does, then do keep this in mind. Now, epigenetics could also explain more clearly the placebo effect. So this is the idea that you give some patients a real pill that has some active ingredients to help whatever their condition is, and you give other patients a placebo, which is like a sugar pill or a pill that contains no active ingredients. And they find time after time when they do these trials that there are some people who take the placebo drug that get some kind of physical benefit. And the reason for that is because they believe that that drug is the real drug. They believe it's going to work. So that belief influences their brain chemistry, which influences the chemistry in their body, which influences how the cells and the genes express themselves. And that can explain why sometimes someone just believing that something can work can actually have real physical improvements and real physical healing in the body. So I hope you enjoyed learning about epigenetics and how it puts you in the driver's seat for your health. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and do leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this video and your thoughts on epigenetics generally. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel and click the bell notification. That way you'll be notified whenever I release future videos just like this one. Now, I am an expert at helping people resolve mental, emotional and habitual problems using the power of hypnosis, hypnotherapy and NLP. To find out how I can help you, please call me on 0433 446 012, or you can email me at paul@harbourhypnotherapy.com.au. I also recommend that you check out my website, that is harbourhypnotherapy.com.au. You can also claim your own free self-hypnosis recording by clicking the first link in the description below. Thank you again for watching this video, and I look forward to sharing more great content with you very soon. Bye for now.